Instead, we want to show widgets for different topics. So for that, on the front end and the back end, we're going to need a way of fetching only those widgets for those topics. Meaning we want to establish a relationship between the widgets and their parent topic. Right. So in right now we have creating a widget, deleting a particular widget, and whatnot. To establish the relationship between the two, what we're going to do using RESTful APIs is that we're going to create a function that might say something like, give me all the widgets, but I don't want all of them, right? Instead, I want to find widgets for a topic, and presumably you're gonna provide me the topic ID, and I will only return the widgets for that particular topic. And the algorithm might be something as simple as creating a results, right? The widgets, and initializing it as an empty array of widgets. And as we iterate over this, we say for widget w in widget list. What do we call the widget list? Oh, I'm sorry. We don't do it here. We don't do it in the controller, right? We would do it in the service. So basically, we're just going to return whatever the service does, right? So let's implement that first in the service. In the service, we would implement instead of find all widgets, we would do a public list widget that would do a find widgets for topic, and we provide an argument string topic ID. We would keep track of the results, and as we iterate over the list of widgets, widget list, as we iterate, we check to see, right, if the widgets get topic ID, if that's equal to the topic ID that you're providing to me as an argument, I'm going to add that particular widget to the results, right? Now, when we have a database, the way we're going to do that, actually, we're going to add the widget to the results. When we're going to have the database, the way we're going to implement that is with a join, right? We're going to join the two, right? And we'll have the database do the loop and the query that will compare foreign key with primary key. Since we don't have a database ourselves, we're going to do the looping ourselves. Yes? Once we have the results, we can just return the result set. Okay? Now in the controller, we can expose that. We can use that and just basically just return whatever the service says that find widgets for topic, and we'll pass in the topic ID. Again, it is not the controller's responsibility to do any data manipulation, retrieval, any of that, right? The service knows how to do that. Okay. So the only thing that the controller knows is that I can expose this to a URL so that somebody can invoke this through a web API, right? And also because we're following RESTful naming conventions, the naming convention would be that you would provide first the parent, the ID of the parent, right? Because you want to say I don't want all the widgets. I only want the widgets for a particular context. So the context, this is how you would specify it. It's my parent, then a specific record in that parent, and then what do you want for within that context? See that? Right? So we are using a hierarchical nomenclature here where we go from a higher context, we go to a narrower context, and then what do we want within that context? See that? Right? And this is a pretty common standard on what the syntax here would be. I mean, obviously you could have written anything. You could have written, something like, get topics for topic ID, right? And you could choose any arbitrary URL you want, yes, right? But this would not be RESTful. It would not be following the syntax of RESTful APIs, right? Instead, so that we follow a systematic, and we all agree on what the nomenclature should be. This is the nomenclature that makes it a RESTful API. Yes? And also because we're doing a read, we're using a get, not a post, not a put, not a delete, right? A get. All right. So now that we have the topic ID, we can parse it out. Again, this is a controller, and that's what controllers do. They can read the URL, they can do these things, right? That's the responsibility of the controller. So let's parse the path variable from the URL, the TID, and then map it to this argument and pass it to the function as a parameter. And then we can then find the topic ID. Everybody okay? All right, let's restart the server and let's verify that this actually works. Now on the client side, let's see what we can do on the client side.